This happened just before Christmas 2019, and I guess it popped into my mind again recently due to it being Christmas season. December 2019, I was traveling by train back to my hometown. When I arrived at the train platform, I started walking toward the ticket machines. As I approached, there was an attendant standing by the machines. As soon as he turned and saw me, he loudly said to me, "Well, finally, you're here. I've been waiting 30 years for you to show up." I thought that was a very weird thing to say, especially since I was only 21 at the time. At a guess, the attendant was in his 50s. The way he said it was very happy and sincere, not sarcastic or even in a joking tone. Unfortunately, I was very shy and awkward, so I didn't ask what he meant. Now I wish I had. Then he asked if he could help me with anything, so I asked him to help me buy a ticket, as I'd never used the ticket machines before. As I was buying the ticket, he kept making really intense eye contact and looking at my face as if he recognized me and was trying to figure out if I was who he thought I was. I had only moved to the area 3 months before and have no family there, so he couldn't have mistaken me for an older relative of mine. I had definitely never seen him before, and it was my first time taking that train. Throughout the interaction, he asked me, "Are you going on another business trip?" Again, I was confused because I was clearly a 21-year-old student, not a businesswoman. I feel that I should say that he wasn't creepy at all, and he definitely wasn't hitting on me. He was well-spoken and clearly not intoxicated. So here's the glitch. After I bought my ticket, he picked up my suitcase and walked me to the train, which was very kind of him. I stepped into the train. He placed my suitcase next to me. I turned to thank him, and he was gone. It was like as soon as he let go of my suitcase, he vanished into thin air. There was practically no one else around, so he didn't disappear into a crowd or anything like that. I glanced all around and I couldn't see him anywhere. He definitely did not get on the train with me and wasn't anywhere on the platform. If he had run off, I would have heard his footsteps, and it wasn't enough time for him to disappear from sight, even if he was running. The whole situation felt so strange. Not paranormal exactly, but surreal. Maybe I should mention that even though I was in university, I'd never been drunk or tried drugs. I wasn't sleep-deprived. I say this because there wasn't an easy explanation, such as me imagining him disappearing or anything. Any theories on what it could have been? He seemed to recognize me and think that I was someone from his past. So maybe some kind of time slip. I don't know. Thanks for reading. Therapists out there, give me some advice free of charge. Each reply will be like a Christmas present I can gleefully unwrap. By continuing further, you legally agree to help, so here goes. My mother-in-law was an old, mean, sickly woman. I thought she was showing signs of dementia, but my husband never pressed to get her checked. She'd been living with us for around 9 months. Her residence at the senior facility that we were paying for, it had been revoked at the beginning of the year after she'd almost set her apartment on fire with a lit cigarette. In September, she committed suicide off the banister of our staircase. I know that sounds crazy. Maybe she fell over the railing and it was an accident, but I watched her do it. I had no clue that she was going to jump. We'd been arguing about something silly. I think she was accusing me of stealing the fish from the large circular tank in her room. It had me heated enough to where I had to storm out. She was following behind me, still yelling. I turned to walk down the stairs to the first floor. She stays at the top area, shouting down at me. Then she quieted down real quick. I turned around thinking that she'd given herself a heart attack. But I see her glancing around, almost like there's a bat swooping around her head. She stood up real straight, made a really heavy, slow inhale before pressing her stomach against the railing, where she then spun over the railing, falling straight down like an arrow into the ground of our entry room. The floorboards shook under me with the drop. I've never seen something as terrible as what I witnessed that afternoon, and nobody knows why she did it. It was hard to console my husband and deal with the repeating horror movie in my head. He would want to talk about her and mourn, but her name only brought disgusting images to the forefront of my mind. We're both still trying to help each other while struggling to help ourselves. On top of that, days later, and I'm talking a matter of 24 or 36 hours after her death, weird stuff started happening around the house. We have pictures that line the wall of our staircase leading up to the bedrooms. That next night, all of them were crooked, all leaning the same direction. My husband told me that he's heard her talking in her bedroom. We still haven't cleared her stuff out. Some family's been by to take some things, but for the most part, her room's been left untouched. I think I'll be more insistent about us going through it after the new year. It's only been a few months, and it's been hard enough handling her cremation, all while sorting out her accounts and bills. We still feel her living here, like she's never left. We've both heard footsteps approach the room that we're in, just to have no one enter. As much as I've tried to deny what's going on, I've seen our curtains blow around with no wind present, none of the other plants or papers around it move, and yet I watch the curtains make shapes of waves with the fabric. I believe now that something is going on, and I worry that these things will just keep escalating. A few days ago, all of our burners were turned on. When we got home from work, our entire house was filled with gas. It took us hours to air the place out. During the summer, my husband promised our house to the rest of the family to celebrate Christmas. I absolutely don't feel comfortable hosting family over with all this stuff escalating. But we gotta do something. I've narrowed it down to this. Cancel Christmas plans with my husband's family 4 or 5 days before Christmas. Or desperately try to find someone to exorcise his mom out of our house. So, which would you pick?